The name's Will Shaffer. Just turned 49 years old, and I'm a senior engineer, project manager, program manager. Been doing engineering and environmental and water and wastewater for the last 27, 28 years.
Take me back to what was going on for you back then. What problems were you facing, and just how did you feel overall?
Pretty tired. I think the biggest alarm was weight. The number on the scale, which was tipping, towards 250. Maybe the summer of 2020, late summer. I was on a hike, and just generally struggling, and had a couple photos shot of me in the middle of one of my favorite hikes, and saw a photo of myself and realized that I really was in sort of a danger zone. So I'd gone to the doctor and done just a general checkup, and he asked me what football team I played for at that weight of 250 pounds. In a joking manner, but in all seriousness said, you're really kind of way out of your weight zone where healthy weight should be for someone who's about 5'11" to 6 feet tall. And it just all was adding up between the weight and then a knee injury, which was being exacerbated by the weight. It was even tough just to go up and down stairs. I was literally holding onto the walls to support myself going up and down stairs, going, to the basement and coming back.
How bad did it get for you? And what specifically, what toll did it take on your life personally and professionally?
Well, the energy level was non-existent towards the end of the day. And work hours were extreme. There was screen time late into the evening, if I wasn't, taking a nap or something. And then there was early screen time in the morning as well. And then long work hours, no real room for exercise, a lot of dark circles under the eyes when I was waking up. So yeah, just really no energy to do anything but get through the work day, hope for the weekend, when the weekend came, try to recharge as much as possible, and then do it all again on Monday.
Where was it really impacting you so much that it was almost just tough to maybe function?
I'm a lifelong hockey player, still play adult hockey now again, thanks to getting my health back. But when I wasn't even able to fit into, the hockey pants and the pads that I had been using for years, it actually had me not playing for a couple seasons. That added to the weight gain as well, because I wasn't having at least that one or two recreational sweats, per week. A morning would consist of having coffee that was left over from the day before, heating that up in the microwave while I was making today's coffee, not even being able to make today's coffee without taking a couple sips of yesterday's coffee, just to kind of get things going. And then just being a zombie for the first 45 minutes to an hour of the day, sometimes even taking the coffee that I was making. And one day I just poured, I was pouring it into the garbage by mistake instead of my cup. It was just,
wow.
Odd things like that. And just shaking it off, a lot of and trying to get some kind of momentum to start the day.
How did that specifically, operating like a zombie, affect you from a professional standpoint?
There'll only be a few hours mostly in the morning, probably from 10 o'clock to maybe, noon or a little after, where I really felt like I was on, all cylinders, functioning, retaining information, being able to creatively, attack problems and come up with solutions. That was probably that 3-hour window that I had. Even though I was at work from 7:30 until, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, there was only a limited band of hours that were actually functional or creative. After, a lunch, which usually consisted of probably takeout or going searching for food, near the office, switching it up from a pizza place or a Subway or something like that. And then in the afternoon, hitting the coffee again to try to skate through till evening. And then, driving home and saying, wow, it's going to start this all over again, and just not really even thinking I was going to do anything in the evening.
How was this low of energy level affecting your personal life?
Just not really, sort of taking myself out of the game, not being real psyched about the shape my body was in or the health or the energy level. So not being open to saying yes to an activity here, or, being able to go on some kind of adventure with my son or hang out with my girlfriend and, in a way where, it was a full day commitment or anything like that. Just sort of taking myself out of the game, I guess, not being available.
How did that start to affect you in that sense of that you have to kept saying no to stuff?
Not a good feeling. Self-pity, kind of diving more into work, try to maybe my value is more work in this stage of life and try to be successful there. And then maybe constantly saying I'm gonna get in shape again, but this job is new, I gotta perform, those types of self reassurance, I guess, fake reassurance.
What has your experience been like working amongst me, and what has it been in the program, and what has it meant to you and for you?
It's a routine, which has always been a hard thing for me, especially when it comes to nutrition or working out. It's a routine that I now have in place that is second nature when I get up. Before, I drag into the office, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, but just really not functioning yet, making sure that I'm going to the coffee machine, maybe messing around on the internet a little bit, looking at some emails, but not really fully engaged in intelligent responses yet, just kind of really still ramping up. Whereas now, by the time I'm, sitting in the chair, either at home or at the office, I've already probably mentally answered a few emails that I've seen, on my phone or tablet. And again, that creative mode comes quicker, mental clarity. And I'm already constructing some of those responses before I'm even typing them. So I've got a backlog of things I'm already going to do by the time I'm sitting down.
What specific results have you gotten from, joining within the program, being committed to it, putting forth the effort? What specific results have you gotten?
I think I was a 45 waist when I started, and I was 200 and close to 250 pounds. I think I was in the high 240s and may have exceeded 250 at some point during the pandemic. But last week I weighed in at 184 and a half pounds. All the 36s that I thought I was comfortable in when I thought I was in shape, 4 or 5 years ago, I've got to get rid of all those clothes now. So that's one down thing, right? You have to buy a new wardrobe. But now I'm down, which is a good thing. But it's fun to pick out new clothes. I'm at a 34 waist comfortably.
So you went from 250 minimum, weighing 250 when you started. You are now dropped down to 184, correct?
Yep.
And your waist measurements was when you realized you were in a 36 stretchy pants, but when you realized, okay, how to measure correctly, your waist was 45 and it is now currently
34.
Whoo! How does that feel?
It feels great. It feels like I've gone beyond my goal, which early on in this program, I was like, all I want to do is be back to where I was 4 or 5 years ago. 36 jeans, a large shirt, maybe a slim fit shirt, but I've exceeded those goals, and I'm looking forward to what may even come next. The clothes fitting good, of course, brings on the confidence. And in my line of work, which is, leans more towards business development and sales within engineering, going out to and networking and being in a room, and, coming into a social situation when you feel good about yourself, everything else falls into place.
Once you created the result for yourself of, dropping over 60 pounds, losing lots of inches, what else changed for you? What else was different?
Well, got back into hockey after almost a 2-year break. And that was pretty early on. A couple months into the program, I felt enough energy and confidence to get back on skates. And that was a big milestone for me. So, back on the ice, it's now playing. It's pretty cool. I'm actually playing with my nephew. So he's now in a situation where he's graduated from college, and he was a pretty, a pretty advanced player coming up. And now he's playing, relaxed hockey in adult league, but we're on the same team. And that's just a cool thing. Like I never would have thought that possibility, right? So I'm back on a hockey team, playing, once a week. Able to easily, not only get a walk in the morning and get my dog out and active for, about 1.5 miles or so, but then I'm hitting 3 miles at lunch. No problem. I usually throw leg weights on, kind of a funny thing from the 90s, but I still have these old leg weights that I put on, and I'll get 3 miles in at lunch.
I love
So
it.
right there, it's just, and that's beyond just, other movements, in the morning for 20 minutes. So, and it all seems pretty natural. I get some phone calls in, when I'm walking at lunch. Um, by the end of the day, I'm logging, sometimes 13, 14,000 steps.
How has this impacted your energy?
You're just able to go longer throughout the day. You're going to, 7, 8 o'clock without, diving for the coffee in the afternoon. There's no coffee, of course, after 1 o'clock. For me, I do like a couple cups of coffee in the morning, or some coffee alternative. Sometimes I switch it off, but you're not diving for the couch when you get home and falling asleep for an hour or more. It's not even a thought. When you come home, if the weather's good, you're thinking, am I going to go out for a bike ride? Am I going to get some lawn work done, or a project that you might have going on at your house? Those types of activities. So it's not, the day doesn't end with the work day, I guess is a big thing.
Where have you noticed a difference now? Before, when you would avoid and say no to, not say yes to invitations, what's changed there?
I've made myself available again, for sure. Yeah. Like, I think the last, conference I went to, and it was close to a year ago, I entered the 5K when I was, really feeling good in this program, coming down towards the 200 mark, which was my goal for Christmas, was to hit the 200 mark. So in the fall, there was a conference, that pretty prominent conference here in the Mid-Atlantic, that I used to enter a 5K for, but we wouldn't even think of entering that in that 3-year period where I was, really not in good health. So I entered that. Again, I've gone on a few fishing trips with my son that were pretty, extreme. A lot of walking and wading in the river, being confident enough to go fly fishing, and being in a pretty significant current of water. And not, I wouldn't even have thought of doing something like that, because, it's walking around, wading all day long. There's a lot of calorie burn. You got to have good stability for fly fishing, especially if you're going to be, in a river. Those were like, yeah, let's go. Let's do that stuff. No problem.
How has this been different from anything you've ever experienced before?
Personal attention, the camaraderie with a group. Yeah, it's online. Yeah, it's a program, but it's knowing that there's someone that's really paying attention to you, Logan, on the other end, checking in daily. The phone, the voice messages and the encouragement throughout the week, and making sure that everything's okay going into the weekend, and all of us checking in with each other on a daily basis and cheering each other on, celebrating, goals that are reached. And that's been different. I mean, compared to, I've been in other programs, and again, I fall for a lot of stuff, I guess, is what I'm saying. This is a lot different.
Now that you know what you know, and you've experienced the results that you've experienced being in here, what was missing from those things that now made this different in a way that now you've gotten the results that you've gotten, and you've continued to keep them? This
is a lifestyle. It's part of a lifestyle, and it's part of a routine that becomes second nature. Whereas opposed to, a program like a nutritional program that you might sign up for, like a meal plan type of, it's not a natural thing. You might be getting some results from it, maybe some significant results, but you're going to eventually come back to eating what you used to eat. You're not going to be on Nutrisystem forever. If you're going to join a CrossFit or a Orange Theory or F45 or all these different very effective and fun workout activities, they take a lot of time. You got to get ready to go there. Then you have to work out. So, you're leaving work, or before work or after work. It's 3 hours of time if you add it all up, because you're going to go there, you got to get changed, then you're going to have your workout, then you're going to have to get ready and dressed to return to work or go home, or move on to your next thing. And that's a big chunk of time out of your day, as opposed to just waking up early enough and feeling natural about waking up and starting a routine. And by, like I said, 7 o'clock, 7:15, you're out the door. You've already, you've already started, your moves, your metabolism's going, and your nutrition's on point to start the day.
What was your biggest worry or concern about joining within this program? Like, what was your biggest worry or concern?
That it wasn't going to be you, that it was going to be maybe somebody else, or, okay, you watch the video and, okay, this is one of my associates or something like that. That was probably my biggest worry to start it off. And then all of a sudden I saw you and I was like, well, that's the same person that I saw on the interview on Facebook. So that's a good sign that it's really you.
What were you really skeptical about when you made the decision to start? I know your concern was, am I going to be handed off to someone else? But what were you really skeptical about?
About whether or not I would see it through, because I had probably 5 or 6 different apps on my phone that had different claims associated with them. And they all had good intentions and they all started. And there were, check-ins, but it wasn't a real person. It was tracking, weight or nutrition. And again, and then until I saw the next thing that seemed like it had the secret, So again, I was loaded up with 4 or 5 apps and little annoying subscriptions per month. And I was thinking to myself, I hope it isn't another one of these.
What did I do or the program do at its core to alleviate your skepticism entirely?
We didn't start the next day. I was given the information. I was, told what to read and what to digest. And you started when you were ready to start. It wasn't a huge rush to start, the next day. You had to go through the purge, right? And read material and understand what it is you were about to embark on and be ready for that first week. And even the first week, I think, was more of a test out the moves, see how you're starting to function, get all of your supplements in place, start taking the supplements. And then I think the first week started maybe 2 weeks after we initially spoke. And so you prepared me for the program. And yeah, it was a lot of information to start out the program. And again, and you would make comments, don't dabble. I think don't be present, don't dabble, because it's a lot of information. But what I learned is that you can always back up and watch a video again, or read some material again, and make sure that you retain it, in that week 1, week 2, and then of course all of the questions and the encouragement to drop the questions. Even sometimes may not even really have had a question, but just go ahead and come up with a question just to have some interaction, in the beginning.
What else, if you had to say, did the program do, or did I do? Like, what did the program do? You could think of anything else that alleviated that skepticism entirely?
I think, again, it was the consistency, week after week, the weekly game films, the checking in, the continued camaraderie. No one drifted off into oblivion. The core folks that have been in my group are still in my group. So it's the consistency. It's the week after week, kind of getting to know folks and cheering each other on. Just a real personal program with results, obviously. Another big one that we haven't touched on is the elimination of excuses. Every week has some kind of chaos as part of it. Sometimes it's, just something that comes up at work, last minute travel, whatever it might be. There's always that would be an excuse not to go to the gym, or do something involved in some of these other programs. But this is adaptable. We use the audible term, call an audible all the time. When something comes up, maybe there's an early flight, or you go on vacation. I think I went on vacation 2 weeks in to this program, which was a significant,
I do remember that.
Thing to have, and that's life. But there's tools that you develop and bring with you wherever you go. On vacation, can you get 70 to 80% in for that week in some way? Do it early, because you're going to have a lot of stuff going on later in the day, family activities. But I was able to get through that week of vacation after only being on this program for 2 weeks, and it didn't take up all my time on vacation, and I felt good, and I didn't have a big setback for being on that vacation.
You're saying your experience with moving forward with the program, that you're able to, it doesn't take up a lot of time. You're able to continue your life when chaos happens. You're able to adapt, so it's adaptable. You're able to go on vacation, all of that, and still keep progressing and not have a lot of setbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you got tools. you may not have dumbbells and equipment with you wherever you go, but there's body workouts. There's, hey, maybe one day it's just steps, but a lot of steps, wherever you can, fitting stuff in.
What would you say to anyone that is considering reaching out, whether it's dropping an email over to me or filling out a form or reaching out for support? What would you say to them, anyone considering to do one of those things?
If you're ready to invest in yourself and invest in your health and nutrition and mental clarity, that this program works, definitely proof of that. I was in the position that you'd be in now if you're thinking about it. And I came across Logan's interview with Andy, and I watched it, and I said, I want that. I want to be, who I was maybe in high school or, 10 years ago. This program works. All it takes is that first conversation. So I've done all of the hesitation and the skepticism for you. It works. I'm a real person. It's been over a year now since I've been in the program, and the results speak for themselves. Make the phone call, reach out, and get that first consultation. No question.
What are your final thoughts about working with me or amongst the program?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the check-ins. Continue to enjoy the camaraderie with the group. I've now implemented just a new lifestyle that, involves, as soon as I get up in the morning, making sure the nutrition's on point, getting some movement in, or if I need to, calling an audible and being okay with that, and, hitting those moves later in the day, or, resetting the next day if necessary. But again, it's just been great. And I'm looking forward to what the next step is, because I'm not done.